Alright guys, this is Kenny Wright with Welsh Hormone Optimization, bringing you another training video. Today we are doing back. So we're starting out here on the lat pull down, super light. And I'm all about stretching, all about warming up, just super light, full extension, full range of motion. I do these with a super wide grip. That is not me, obviously. but yeah, super wide grip gives you, wide lat muscle. Lee Haney, think of Lee Haney. This is a super good exercise for every back exercise I do. I honestly start out with these just because they're so good to start with, to warm up, and not to just throw yourself straight in the trenches. So there's me. I literally spend 2 or 3 sets, I guess you would call it, or 2 or 3 sets worth of time just stretching. And I'm just, so you can see there, I'm stretching my right lat, just swinging it back and forth, getting all that range of motion, because your lats get super tight and they need to be loosened up. And they bind at that tie-in in the armpit area. You get a lot of fascia adhesions, and then you have to have a ton of massage work to correct it. And you should have massage work done anyways, but you can be a little preventative. Plus it makes imbalances in the physique. If one of your lats gets pinned down, my right one gets pinned down on its own, and I have to get that worked out over and over again. So alright, looks like she's jumping into an actual set, all the way up, big squeeze, towards the upper chest area, collarbone, big squeeze, slow stretch up, control the negative. Alright, stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze. Keep a good tempo, good momentum, control it all the time, every set. Looks like I might actually be jumping into a set. Yeah. So, all the way up, and I stretch forward, I don't care. And look, you can see that, that's a good amount of weight. That's 75% of the stack. So I stretch all the way up, and this is, one of my first actual sets. Big stretch all the way forward, and then all the way down. I control it. And if I can't control it like that, then I have no business doing it. That's my thoughts, at least, on it, And this just keeps the tension staying out of your neck. Then, like I was saying, adhesions just binding up in the tie-ins of your lats, tying into your armpit area. There she goes with another set. So in these, we're going progressive overload style. I kind of say that in every video, but if somebody, this is the first video you end up seeing, then it's worth saying progressive overload. Increasing weight as your sets progress. And that's just, standard muscle building type training. It's just the way that it should go as far as I'm concerned. Big stretches there, big squeeze, hold it. Stretches, these are getting heavy, so it's still just full control all the time. Yeah, see, and that was a super heavy set. Last set. We usually do, 4 real working sets, maybe 3, depending on how I feel that day. And if I'm real strong, then I'll actually do less, but I jump into the heavier weights quicker. But I always start with at least 3 super light stretching sets. Honestly, just enough to get me to that my body will be held down and I can stretch. So I'm doing, first when I start off, I'm doing like 100 pounds and I just stretch. Alright, moving on. Behind the neck pull downs. So this is a similar motion, but when I do these, I turn around. You can see this is not me again, but facing the opposite direction. Scoot your butt out a little bit. That way when you pull down the bar, it's coming down behind your neck. And this makes a little more like inner upper back detail, I feel like. I mean, I don't feel like I know that that's what's happening, but that's how it goes. So it is a different variation. The other ones you're doing, you're both doing them both real wide, but these, you're squeezing your shoulder blades together more. You're focusing more on an inner upper development of your back just to make a more complete, well-rounded back, which is a rare thing. And it's one of my weak points. It's one of most people's weak points. Backs and legs, I mean, and that's what makes a phenomenal bodybuilder is somebody with incredible back and legs. Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath, all these guys, tremendous backs, and this type of attention to detail is where that stuff comes from. So big stretch all the way up, and I pull my head back like that just to release the tension on my neck, because you don't want to mistake just being like all cramped up and tight for working hard, So I always think, what am I trying to work? I'm trying to work my back. So why am I keeping my neck so tight? Try to relax that, reset the mental focus to where your mind-muscle connection is going to where you're trying to work and not having a crazy stiff neck the next day. So she's jumping into her sets. And these, you go a little bit lighter. I mean, you can't quite handle the same load that you can on a normal wide arm lat pull down facing forward. So, I mean, you can see there I'm doing half the weight that I was before. So, big stretch, big squeeze behind the neck. I'm getting the Popeye face going on there. All right, so this is a seated wide grip high row, and you can see where it's working on her. Girls are lucky. They have very thin back skin, so they have great, visual back development. It's easy to see where things are working. Guys, my skin's like a foot thick, so the last thing to get completely shredded on me is my back. But this particular variation, you're pulling it upward, wide grip. This is working more mid-trap. And when you think of traps, all you think is frogs sitting on top of people's shoulders. But the mid trap is very important from the rear, especially in like a back double bicep, rear lat spread. Everybody like I just named before, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath, have tremendous mid trap development, and that is where your traps extend down between your shoulder blades. And this is a good way to work those, and they're always neglected. And it was a problem for me in competition, and I could never figure out how to work it. And this is how you do it. They need to be squeezed together. All right, we did 4 or 5 sets of those, but I just am speeding it up for the sake of, so you don't sit here watching a 45-minute video and get bored and shut it off. So moving on to a seated single arm cable row. These are nice. We put the cable or the seat pretty far away, so you get a big stretch. You're just stretching all the way forward, squeezing all the way back. Gives you a full range of motion. It works, the back thoroughly. I feel like this gives lower and inner lat development just from that big stretch forward and then the big squeeze back. Big stretch, squeeze. I kind of rotate a little bit too, and when my elbow gets parallel with my waist, then I kind of pivot and push down and squeeze my lat, flex my lat downward, and I feel like that gives me more activation of that muscle. Moving on, hammer strength low row. And you can do these with a single arm like she's doing here, and you can kind of get that same pivoting motion. It's not quite the same exercise, how it looks similar to what we were doing with the cable, but it's not quite the same. Everything gives a little tweak, a little bit different area that it's hitting. I do these with both arms at the same time, and I just give a big stretch and I kind of pull back and squeeze, and I feel like that gives me thick lower lat development, like where your lower lats tie into your waist. If that's thick and meaty, at its insertion point, when you're lean, it looks incredible. And I don't quite have what I would call an incredible back, but it makes it more incredible than what it was. So, but I'm also my own worst critic. So, moving on. I work traps with back, but we also do them on shoulder day. Sometimes I just throw traps in honestly anytime um, that I have the energy to after a workout, because there's something that people forget a lot. So when I do them with a pretty wide grip, and I try to squeeze up and in, big stretch down to make that separation, full range of motion, big squeeze up, up. See there, you can see that lower lat tie-in like I'm talking about through the shirt. It looks nice. Big squeeze up. You don't need a ton of weight. You see people shrugging with 4 or 5 plates, and it's like you're barely moving, no range of motion. You don't need a whole lot. So there we go. That is a back day.